Welcome to Your Time, Your Money, the show where your time is just as valuable as your money, and we know that. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Adam, how are you?
I'm good. It's almost spring. Feels like we get a day or two in there that feels warm, and then we get a day or two it's just plain cold.
In New York, it's the 12 phases of winter.
Correct. Yeah. Well, now we're getting into construction season, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, for our listeners in Florida, that's all year round. It's construction
right.
season. It never seems to end. Every time I go down there, it's the same thing. So we got a great topic for today. We thought we'd touch on one that I think is prevalent because of all the kind of new talk about AI that's out there. Whether it's
big hot topic.
For automatic driving cars, for the Roomba, right?
Yep.
The old vacuum that goes around the house and bumps into everything at least 400 times.
Yep.
But that's robo advisors, and it's something that shouldn't be not really calculated when you're talking about investing.
Yeah.
But we really need to know what the benefits are and the shortcomings are.
Yep.
And as a potential client or a listener, you may just have it the first time you're hearing about robo advisors and not understand kind of what they are.
Yeah, and also really what do they bring to the table? What don't they bring to the table? Right. I mean, those are the two aspects that anybody that is getting into investing needs to consider when considering, should I go with an advisor or should I go with a robo advisor?
Yeah, and it's this whole concept about an intelligent learning system, something that's going to make automatic changes for you, is going to kind of do it on its own, so to speak, right? And those things sometimes can go wrong, as we learned in every 80s movie where there was technology that took over the human race.
Once the robo advisors become self-aware, everybody's done.
It's all gone, right? But we thought it would be a good topic. About 4 or 5 years ago, assets in robo-advisor programs were probably about $500 billion. Now you're talking multiple trillions and trillions of dollars that are pumped into these platforms.
Yep.
And sometimes people view it as it's a way to reduce risk, or my accounts will always go up, or my accounts will always be managed at the appropriate time and stuff.
Right.
But all that is based off of the algorithms that are programmed in by humans.
Right. And it starts with being set up, sort of those basic questions: risk tolerance, timing, when are you going to need money, those types of components. Just as we do as advisors, it's the knowing the client. And it's the same concept with the robot, basically.
Yeah, and in a short session, we're just going to cover kind of the general topics of it. Generally speaking, robo-advisors are using some type of low-cost indexing strategy within their portfolios. It's all based on risk tolerance, right? So they maybe have 5 models or so that are client suitable, at the time. But the question I always ask is it technically going to do what it needs to do when push comes to shove if an emergency comes up?
Sure. And if you think about it as, what doesn't it have? It doesn't have emotion, right? Some people would say that's a plus, some people would say that's a minus. And the reason why we look at it a certain way is, life happens to all of us differently. Life events happen to us differently. How many times, if you are in the position where you have an advisor, do you need to connect with your advisor and talk something through? That doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to change what you're doing in your investments, but it's more about feeling better about what's going on in their life.
Yeah, and the strategy has a lot of validity to it, right? Yep. That low-cost indexing strategy, an advisor can bring that into the platform, and in a similar manner, reduce fees in a portfolio, tie it to an index where maybe there's not the need for necessarily daily management of it. But the most important part is, if you're solely a robo-advisor and you want to bounce an idea off of a person, they're not there.
Right.
If you're concerned about where to take money from, or you want other options as far as how to get money out of your accounts, perhaps a dividend, perhaps a distribution or whatever, the technology is limited in that because there's only so many answers that they can give you.
Right.
It's not a cookie cutter approach. Part of being an advisor is walking through the common sense examples of where's the best tax consequence for you to take this. Maybe it's something that you told your advisor 5 years ago that you needed this money for, and you're asking for money out of that account when you forgot that it was set aside for the goal for the second home or whatever that might be.
Yep.
The robo-advisors are good as long as your data entry is super detailed. Right? It's not going to piece the plan together for you.
But think of it this way too. Somebody can do a lot online to self-diagnose things that happen, right, in terms of their health. And in the same way, sometimes it gets to a point where you need to go see a doctor to get maybe the better answer or a different answer, just based on what you've been feeding the information into the remember, there's websites out there obviously that can scare the heck out of people, but then they go to a doctor and the doctor's like, well, no, we look at this and this and this. It's the same type of concept as the robo-advisor versus an advisor person.
Yeah, and it's more of a common trend, I think, with the next generation, right?
Yes.
That want access and the digital technology platform right at their fingertips, kind of set it and forget about it.
Yep.
And that's a different type of investing altogether.
Right.
That usually is great up to a certain point. And that point's usually when you start into the next phases of life, with home, kids, family, all the different nuances of expenses going on, parents passing away.
Yeah.
Where that robo-advisor world really doesn't break in is the strategies that we implement as an advisor, which are the tax strategies, perhaps, the estate planning strategies, the wealth transfer, the life insurance strategies.
The protection strategies that a robo-advisor is not necessarily going to say, well, you should look at this type of an annuity because it offers income of a certain need. They're going to deal with investments. It's going to deal with investments.
Right. And I don't want our listeners to think that we are bashing robo-advisors, because there is some good validity, and there is parts of our practice where we maintain a similar program. And that's through some of our indexing strategies, some of our pots, so to speak, that have long-term money in them versus a short-term, because we want to reduce fees and expenses for the clients as much as possible. So there is good strategy to it. It's just knowing when and where to use these automated AI-type robo-advisor platforms within a portfolio.
Right. Yeah, and touching on an AI, which has been very big these days, right? Especially lately, and thinking about the aspects of compared to a person, just in general, and the reaction that you can get from a person when information becomes basically what you plug into it. So anyway.
Yeah, you get out what you put in.
Yeah. Yep.
Plain and simple. So, so just in general views of robo-advisors and the platforms themselves, they're going to continue to evolve. They're going to continue to implement different strategies, algorithms, trading strategies. And our markets were a manual enter trade system, so to speak, at one point. Nowadays, millions and millions of trades and transactions happen on the markets in a nanosecond. And a lot of the larger firms that are moving large lots of shares and stuff, that's affecting the price quite a bit of securities at times. Is the progression from stocks and then mutual funds now to ETFs and ongoing, things that trade very quickly. But what we can't lose sight of is the slow, methodical process of working with an advisor really puts you in the best position and goals necessary. So once again, to our listeners, robo-advisors, they're out there. One of the largest platforms is Vanguard, and then some of the others out there. And they're great to have in a portfolio, but they should be part of your portfolio is the main, synopsis that we want for this episode.
Right.
And if you have questions about them or even have them in your portfolio, you should share them with us, share them with your advisor, and make sure that we are incorporating our strategies to complement what the robo-advisor programs do. So with that being said, I think that's kind of a nice recap of robo-advisors. I was hoping you would get your C3PO.
I know. If C3PO was managing my money, I'd be okay with that. That's.
I don't know. He gets spooked pretty fast.
These aren't the droids you're looking for.
So as always, it's your time, your money. You can find us at the SC Group at 43 British American Boulevard in Latham, 12110, or at 844-444-YTYM for your time, your money. Like and subscribe. We love to have comments from listeners on different topics that come in.
Yep.
And this whole thought of Robo Advisors was one from them as well. So once again, it's your time,
Your money.